They're called Angels in Orange, United Hatzalah volunteers who aim to arrive and provide medical aid within 90 seconds in an emergency situation. The name means United Rescue, and volunteers jump into action the minute they're needed. That's exactly what happened on that fateful day more than a year ago.
October 7th was supposed to be a very special day for me and my family. It was supposed to be my son's bar mitzvah. And we were, the whole family together by my parents, all excited.
Allahu Akbar!
But at 6:29 a.m., missiles started flying, alarms sounded, and when they didn't stop, Dovie Maisel knew there was trouble.
We're getting more calls of missiles over here and shootings over here, and I'm talking to my deputy, so he immediately deploys to headquarters, and I got my whole operational staff all on the way.
This is the United Hatzalah headquarters in Jerusalem. I'm sitting on an ambucycle. United Hatzalah has more than 1,000 of these countrywide. On October 7th, the volunteers that ride them sprang into action to save lives.
The United Hatzalah, being a community-based emergency response organization, bases its whole operations method on the community response. And suddenly we have hundreds of these volunteers from Sderot, Netivot, Ofakim, all responding in their communities to massive incidents of shooting attacks and explosions and grenades, and it literally felt like the apocalypse.
This is the control room in Jerusalem where they received the calls for help on October 7th. As more reports of terrorist infiltrations came in, Maisel said they had to quickly decide whether to deploy volunteers and ambulances from other areas to the south.
Ground rule of emergency medical services is safety first. Always. You never go into the hot zone, never go into harm's way. You wait until security forces clear the area, secure it, make sure that there's no threat to the volunteers responding.
They understood early this would be a very different situation.
And I made the hardest decision of my life then and said, we're all going in under fire. We're not going to force anyone. We knew where the parameters of the hot zone is. We have our staging area. You do not have to go in.
Some were wounded, like Rabbi Sassi, a volunteer from Sderot who responded to a missile attack on the police station. Later, he received a special 3-wheel ambucycle so he can continue to volunteer.
So we told the volunteers within the region there, respond in your neighborhood because you're in it anyway. Obviously, put on your protective gear, your bulletproof vest, your helmet.
More than 1,000 volunteers took part in the 36-hour mission, saving more than 1,000 lives.
I have no way to explain it, in a natural way. Having hundreds of people go in under direct fire of terrorists, missiles exploding, grenades, shrapnel. We have dozens of volunteers' cars that were full of bullet holes, and ambulances with shrapnel, and tires torn, but no one killed.
Maisel credits divine protection.
Thankfully, there were angels came down from the heavens on that day and protected hundreds of volunteers that went in under fire. And we have endless footage here of battles with terrorists, and yet none of them were killed.
Maisel says Israeli nonprofits and volunteer groups really came together to save lives then, and they're now preparing for other battles.
Knowing the threat, not even only the north, but they call it the fire ring of Iran and its proxies. We understand that if we won't prepare ourselves, we'll never be ready.
They've stocked up on motorcycles, emergency vehicles, and other equipment such as generators, backup, and satellite communications.
We want to think how we can utilize and leverage this power of community, of the amazing volunteerism spirit of Israeli society. And it resonates with the name of our organization, United Hatzalah. Hatzalah means rescue. What are we uniting? The cross-section of Israeli society, men, women, Jews, Arabs, Orthodox, secular, all in this one mission of saving lives in the community.
Maisel believes Jews, Christians, and Muslims are able to unite in these challenging times because those who volunteer to save lives are a different breed.
I always say our mission is saving lives, but our byproduct of this organization is building bridges in the community here. And it gives a lot of hope, actually, especially in times like these.
Maisel thinks this is the toughest year Israel as a state has ever had, and probably it's going to get worse before it gets better.
But there is a strong sense of optimism because being around as a nation for thousands of years, we're not really worried about the short term. We need to live it out. We need to add more light in doing good, and we'll prevail here.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, United Hatzalah Headquarters, Jerusalem.